Hey, I'm Kyle Higgins, writer for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers as well as Radiant Black, and you're watching Action Activate.
Here we come! There they go! People rise! 'Cause they know we're super soldiers! We got cool clothes! You real smooth! You see our pose! Action!
I was waiting for you to put that. Hey, welcome to Action Activate. This is the review show where we talk about Power Ranger stuff. I am the big dog, and with me, as always, is
Gazbot, how you doing?
it is you. So we are here today to talk about not issue 1, but issue 2 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, number 2. A lot of 2s here. 2 guys, issue 2, second series. You know, here we are.
Me too. We did review the first series as a trade paperback in issue 1 a couple weeks ago, so you can check those out if you want to. Otherwise, we could just dive in. One funny thing is the where I live, my local comic store, I did not get the last one because I was out of town. I was in LA, and I got one from a store down there. Similarly, I bought my copy of this over the weekend. I was at Pasadena Comic Con, so I went to a store in Pasadena, the Collector's Paradise, and got it there. So I've not bought either copy of this at my local shop.
Well, maybe you should just put it in your pull box and get a pull box for one series.
I don't have a pull box there. I've been going there. I've been enjoying not having a pull box, let me just say. Because if I had a pull box, I wouldn't have been able to buy them at these other comic stores when I was out and about. And I like being able to just go in and buy a comic that I feel like buying, as opposed to being like, oh, I think I have that. I can't get it. And, you know.
I am curious to see which cover you got.
I think you'll be surprised. This one.
Ooh, the Dan Mora one. Very nice.
Dan Mora. Now, I do like Dan Mora art, and I do like this cover, but it wouldn't have been my first choice because the first issue I had part 1 of the wraparound or connect a cover. They didn't have that cover. They had this one, and they had a few others. They had the helmet one. They had the one that looked kind of cartoony. They had the one that is my least favorite, which just looked like Ninja Turtles.
You mean they had this one?
They had that one, yes. I knew you'd get that one.
I am so stoked that I'm going to get turtle helmet covers to go with my. Do I have one? Yeah, I have. This is issue 100.
Nice.
The foil version. Yeah, I am a collector of those covers, so very happy that that is an option once again. And
I agree. It's not. I have some of those, but I don't collect them the way you and others do. So I'm happy that's available. But I just wanted to get it. I didn't want to wait and get the other one. And I do like this art. I just am like bummed that it's not collector.
And you as an artist, I know we've talked about this in the past, is a thing where you're like, I hate when I look at a cover and the art's really good, and then I look inside and the art's not as good. You get what you pay for with him.
Yeah, absolutely. Although I will say I am a fan. And if there's any artist, the cover or a pinup or a poster is always going to be a little bit better than interior pages because you have more time to spend on it. It's more important. But I will say, while certainly I like this artist, and overall it's much better art and more consistent than the first series, there are 1 or 2 things about this one that I will nitpick just like last time.
So overall initial impressions, what'd you think of this issue?
I liked it. I liked it just as much as the last one, maybe a little bit better than the last one, actually.
I'm the opposite. I liked this issue. I think I liked the last one a little bit more just because a lot of the introductory beats hit with me a little bit harder. Not that this issue was bad, but like I liked the little moments they got, the calm before the storm of like, here are the Rangers and the Turtles hanging out, and here are them, you know, being nice, and everything's all hunky-dory until it's not hunky-dory.
I did like that, I guess, and a lot of it was set up, but I guess we're getting some of the payoff now with all the various villains showing up, and I like they got the new version of Rita sitting there looking cool, and weirdly, I complained about the Ranger X Casey costume a little bit and not loving it, but I liked it more in this one for whatever reason. Maybe I just got used to it. I don't know, but it
grew on me a lot.
Yeah,
I like this. I like this in any series. Is there something? Oh no, I thought there was like a stain on my comic, but it was just the art. I like any time that, especially this early, all the villains get together and you're like, I don't know how they're going to overcome this.
Right.
I'm curious how this is going to go because they get wrecked easily. And before we jump too far ahead, Ryan Parrott I know I've sung his praises a lot when
Writer.
it's come to any of the Ranger stuff he's done. Hang on, let me finish and then you go. This little tiny thing he did in this that was just so subtle and so perfect is when Casey is talking to Krang and they're like, we got one morpher to work, but these other morphers for the Rangers of Dimension X, they don't work. I'm like, of course there'd be Rangers in Dimension X. Why would there not be? Because Rangers are just everywhere and it's an established thing and it's great and it's fine and I love it.
I love it. I also love that they all have X's. So even though he's like Ranger X, like Phantom Ranger, like probably that whole team just had X's and it meant something else, and that's fine. What I wonder, and this might be a bit of a stretch. You remember the Neutrinos?
If they were Rangers, that would be kind of cool.
I mean, Hot Rod and Teenagers from Dimension X, you know, like that would be kind of a cool way to tie that in, you know, like I don't want to get my hopes up, but if in like issue 3 or 4 we see some like hard, like we've been fighting the war Neutrinos, I'd kind of love that.
If there's ever going to be somebody to do that, it would be Ryan Parrott. He is so far in these 2 issues king of the deep cuts, where we keep seeing so many people. I'm like, I didn't expect to see Slash in this issue so prevalently. All right, cool. Leatherhead's in. All right, haven't seen him in a bit. Like, granted, I don't read IDW Turtles very heavily.
That deep of a cut, really, but yeah.
Well, whenever it comes to crossover stories, especially, I feel like it not just with this, but like with any properties, it's like, oh, who's fighting Spider-Man in the Spider-Man Batman thing? Joker. Oh, of course it was. And who else? Green Goblin. Okay, sure.
Yeah,
why?
You're right. Leatherhead would be like a second tier character, to be fair, I guess. But yeah. I love the interaction with Krang too, where Krang's sort of like, wow, Casey, and he's like, I'm gonna do what I have to do. Like, yeah, and he kneels, and I like, what's his name? Dan Mora does really good like sharp lines and stuff and like detailed stuff, but he also does a good job with like kind of abstracted silhouettes, like that cape. Like cape, I don't even think cape would do that, but it looks nice and cool, you know.
Yeah.
So I
blowing
that.
In the wind, as it were.
Yeah. And there are a lot of character beats because we got Splinter playing chess with Zordon, and similar to last issue when Jason and Leo were talking about like the hotheads of the team and how they're a pain in the butt, but they're actually really good. But you won't, it's similar where Zordon and Splinter are like, like they're children, but like we put them in this position and like it's hard, but it has to be done. But like it's like they would bond over that. Like so that was a cool moment too. I
liked April hanging out with Bulk and Skull too. It works way better than I thought it would,
because they've sort of been portrayed as sort of kind of reporter detectives many times.
Well, the thing that gets me is like not that part, but mostly like in most Ranger stuff, they're seen. Can you move your mic closer to you? I'm getting a little feedback from my side.
Yeah.
Thank you kindly. They're always seen as like dopes. And even though they're dope-y in this, like she has like some level of like care for them where like she's talking to them and it's not just like I'm wasting my time with you and I need to make sure the Rangers can do their thing. It's like, oh, okay, whatever. Like, I don't think you did that, but sure. And even Skull's like,
they know things. They've been around. Yeah, she
knows how to call them out, mostly Bulk on the BS, but still be like, yeah, I believe you that this happened. This is kind of cool.
I agree with that. The one thing I don't like is this transition is a little, not terrible, but a little bit weird, where she sees the hole in the sky. They run away. And she gets on the turtle comm or whatever she's using. And she's like, something big just popped up over Angel Grove. And then the inset word balloon right there says, and this might be the beginning of the end of the world. Okay. But the way it's drawn, it was unclear to me. Like, is this still the portal? Or is this like, it made it seem like that's where the turtles are and that's her on the phone.
Yeah.
Because like usually if there's a like a non-speech bubble, that's because you're not, it just seemed weird. And there was no there was no blue around the edges. Like I felt like it should have been a speech bubble and had a little blue around the edges to make it a little bit more clear.
I feel like there's so much going on in this. It's implied and maybe just got lost in the background because of how many characters are crammed in.
I do see some white and stuff, but the coloring could have been brighter. But
so really let's take a moment for this though. Nitpicking aside, all right. We got Slash, we got In the bottom left corner, we got Squat just ready to roll with his Dimension X blaster.
Squat looking pretty vicious there. That's
yeah.
as vicious as
You the thing I liked too, and they don't explicitly say it, but it seems like there's like some putty like Rock Soldier hybrids.
Yes, I was noticing that too. Or I mean, that's what it looks like. Or they made putties to look like Rock Soldiers, or Rock Soldiers to look like putties. But it's definitely, they're mixed there.
Slash looks cool. This isn't my favorite version of Slash, but like I still think it looks cool.
That drawing of Slash is my least favorite piece of art in this entire book.
You feel like it's too rough?
It looks like it's an unfinished drawing, and Leatherhead a little bit too. And I only say that because everything else is so sharp. Like this page, weirdly. This page, which is awesome, has some of my least favorite like art stuff, and some of it's because it's way in the background stuff. But it's just like, I don't know. It just doesn't look like his style. It looks like somebody else inked it or something. I can't put my finger
on the edges. I could see what you're saying,
and it's not terrible. It's not terrible art. It just seems like it doesn't fit. It's just weird. And maybe it's all him, and he was just trying to make these monsters look so different. But Slash specifically, like there's like it looks a little unfinished. And there's so many like parallel lines. So it's so samey. All the textures. It reminds me, we were talking earlier about something else. Reminds me of like 90s Image, where it'd be like, okay, it's a decent enough drawing. And then here's 1,000 lines that kind of for no reason and makes metal look like skin, look like hair. That is not this guy's art at all. Like when I think of his art, I don't think of that. So that picture of Slash is just weird to me.
So I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
But then we get to flip one more page.
Yes.
And we get arguably the biggest piece of fan service I've seen this early in a crossover. And they go, we're going to have to shadow morph. And I thought for a second, I'm like, did they talk about this in the last one? Or are we just assuming that it's a new thing that they figured out? And it's a new thing they figured out.
Okay.
Where everybody gets to morph together.
Which is, but they're like on the buddy system. They have to stay near each other, and there's a timer. I love that. It's not just
somehow they made Ultraman a piece of Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers in a comic for you.
Yes, but I love that because otherwise it's too powerful. Oh, I could just share it with anybody, no big deal. It's like no. It's kind of split, and you got to stay near each other. Like, and they also made a point of saying that like Donnie and Billy were working on this. It wasn't like an easy thing to figure out. I love it. The only thing I'm not sure about is Power Bunga. I'm not sure about Power Bunga.
I like Power Bunga.
Here's what happened when I read it. I went, okay, Power is Mastodon, Pterodactyl, Triceratops, Tyrannosaurus, Saber-toothed Tiger, Power Bunga. And I was like, do I hate that? No.
I don't think everybody's saying Power Bunga, though. Like, when I read that, it was only Mikey.
If they had... You know what I want? I want this whole page, and then like them coming, like a panel here where they're coming out of the morph, and he's like, Power Bunga! Because you're right. Having just Mikey say it would be much better. Yeah. But it didn't hit me where I'm like, that's terrible, I hate it. But it didn't hit me like, yeah. It was like, okay.
Just that whole page.
Yeah.
I love it. Take all the word bubbles out except for the Power Rangers. I actually just noticed that all of this is taking place in the Morpher.
Good call. You're right. I saw those words, but I didn't think about it. That's very good.
Awesome.
The art is fantastic. And the
coin is them.
Yes. I'll tell you something else that's hard to do is lining up desperate faces. You get two people, like if it was me and my like a brother or something, it's not too hard to do. But like lining it up so that the mouths and everything kind of so it doesn't look horrible and like all janky. Did a really good job with that.
Yeah. And especially on the Pink Ranger panel, just because like you could argue the two of them look very similar, but I feel like he did enough distinctions on each side to make it a little more broken up.
Agreed.
Yeah, man, like issue 2, and we're already getting this, and I know we won't spoil for anybody who doesn't know. There's some cooler stuff down the line that we know from covers, but like this was already great. I'm already all good here.
It is. And like the minor quibbles I had about the art on this page, like I said, immediately goes right back to super good. And even like, this is the thing that's crazy is like, we have one panel on top here and everything is super sharp. The action is good. The designs are good. There's background. Like it's clear. It's like great. That could be like a cover. So it's weird to me that the big splash page, I feel like, was anything less than 100%. And that's why I feel like maybe there was a deadline thing or something. I don't know.
If there's a second printing of this issue, I want this to be the cover.
This one?
Yes.
Yeah. But even I'm saying even this next page.
I know.
Image on there is so sharp.
I love the again, Donnie and Billy have been making random technologies. Like, I got this new blaster.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff.
And this is a good shot of the sort of hybrid putty, is that a
rock
putty?
soldier thing?
Soldier? Yeah. It's which maybe wasn't ever explained, and I'm fine with that. It's we see the Rangers doing stuff. It's reasonable that the others are as well.
They acknowledge, which again I like, when the Pink Rangers are fighting. She's like, "No skirt, a bold choice."
Yeah. And they're getting a little overconfident, like, "Oh, I thought this would be harder." And it's like kind of the normal pattern you get from Rangers or Turtles.
Yeah.
And then we see no, you're making a mistake, and this was all a trick.
I love in the next page, Bebop's cyborg arm cannon shoulder bit whole thing. Yeah. That upgrade is very menacing and scary.
Yeah, and it's also good because all of the soldiers on either side, really, but especially Krang and Shredder soldiers, the idea that they would defect so easily makes perfect sense. Because they're just kind of I like blowing stuff up, Well, here's a bigger gun. Thanks, boss. The end. That's all they care about. Also, going back to the less strictly illustrative style that I enjoy from Mora, this panel I like a lot. It makes no sense logically. You would not see these details. They wouldn't, you know what I mean? But he puts them in. It's very comic book in a way I like.
And kind of like you were saying, the silhouette of Casey makes me like that even more.
Yes. And I start seeing the mask more, and it just I don't know if it got tightened up a little bit. Maybe it was something about that reveal shot I didn't like. I don't know, but I like it better this issue.
Another, outside of things that are hard to compete with, just normal comic art panel on the second page of this, seeing those three Rangers together just makes me all giddy.
This one?
So good.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about. That clean image right very there. Sharp. Amazing.
Very sharp. I like, it's funny too, because I like the Ninja Power Ranger, the Ninja Turtles in the Power Ranger suits so much better in this book than I did in the last book. And that goes back to they look so good on the covers, but inside, and the figures were okay, but they just weren't tight enough.
I love those figures. They're some of my favorites.
But would you agree that the art is slightly better designed than the figures, just a little tighter?
I have a remind me about the end of this issue, but let's keep trucking.
Okay.
So we keep going. Here's another thing.
That's great composition.
On the next page, Casey just whacks Raph in the face. And I love any Ranger shot where you just see that is a full-blown Lost Galaxy and Time Force homage right there. Kudos to you.
And I love that they had
Mora.
Agreed. I had the same reaction, and I love that it was a turtle and not a Ranger.
Yep.
Because we're not going to get that. Yeah. And it was the thing. Yeah, they did the whole thing, the setup. Oh, his hockey stick. You break his hockey stick. It means something. That's where the spell is. And he's like, no, Raph, there's no spell. It's and then he just wrecks him. And then
I think this whole page just made me go, okay, Casey's not bad. Casey is doing this as a means. Yeah, this is a means to an end. That's fine. My call shot now, and we'll see what yours is through, Casey's, street vigilanteism. He found out about these other Ranger powers that the bad guys are trying to get. He went in as a mole.
He also knew that they were collecting all the villains from his era.
Yeah.
Or his dimension, rather. So he might have played up I don't give a crap about the Turtles. I'm a street guy.
I want power, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
He did enough stuff where they trusted him to give him a morpher, and he's waiting to get the rest online so he can go, hey, guys, now we can take everybody down together.
Yeah. Or at least get them out of the hands of Krang.
Something. But I do hope at the end of this, if we are right, if he does have a little slight at Tommy of dude, I'm way better at going undercover than you. I don't know what your deal was, but you were just not good.
I would like it too if at the end of it, if Casey doesn't stay a Ranger, but maybe he's got something. like some kind of powered up weapon, or just like a little, he's got that kind of, I used to be a ranger, so now I'm a little strong forever, or just something like that,
You know what would be awesome, even though he's not in this comic, is somehow if Zed is involved, if he uses Zed's staff like a hockey stick.
That would be cool.
That would be so amazing.
Hey, Rita has a staff.
But it's the shape, though.
I know,
like
but
he used it as a hockey stick.
They could fake it. I mean, it would be a circle, but all he needs to do is hold it like this and whack something. That's really, Zed would be better. You're right, but I'll take what I can get.
Yeah.
And more great art on the next page. The composition of the
dude. Look at the 2 Blue Rangers right there. So good.
I like how he draws Alpha too. He does. He skirts the line where he makes Alpha look like Alpha. He doesn't coolify Alpha too much, but it looks like, oh, this is like a robot made out of technology, not a person in a suit. But it's like, it's just
So good, man. And I'll be honest, I expected something different because I don't know where the hell Splinter is during all this. He's somewhere. I don't know.
We're talking to Zordon over chess. They established that. No,
Zordon is in the tube here because they're trying to go kill Zordon.
Oh, right. So Splinter was talking to him remotely. Yeah.
So
I guess presumably
question. He's remote.
Yeah. So presumably they're talking, playing chess. Zordon's like, I'm in trouble. And then even if Splinter left immediately, he might not be there yet. But Splinter doesn't usually get involved unless he absolutely has to.
But here's the thing. On this page, when we see the Shuriken go into Bebop's cannon, I was like, oh, Splinter's finally gonna, mess some people up. This is gonna be great. Oh no.
I knew it wasn't gonna be
such a good page. Such a good page. We said it once. Cool. I'll say it again. No disrespect to the artist of Power Rangers Turtles Series 1. Dan Mora is unmatched. Just let him draw everything that he wants. Never say no to him. Whichever company you are, he gets a free pass at all times. And just let him draw. Because that's what he does. Is he draws, and he draws well.
I mean, that might be a little bit hyperbolic, but I do like
There's no hyperbole in my statement. He gets a free pass at everything in life. If he is in a rush, you let him go to the front of the line and let him order first. He gets a pass.
I see. I like this book very much. Going through it again, I do like it better than the first issue. And I like the first issue, but I like the ramp up and I like where we're going, and I'm excited. I'm more excited to see issue 3 than I was to see issue 2, if that makes sense.
Fair.
So thumbs up for me.
Yeah, this so great. The fact that we're both arguing of like, I don't know which of these issues I loved more. It's like,
yeah, it's pretty great. I've already had the thought of like, I wonder if they're going to do a third one. We're not even done.
Same. Yeah. And I think I asked Ryan Parrott that at Comic-Con when this was not Comic-Con, Power Morphicon when this was announced, and he's like, we'll see how it does. And please go do it. The only downside of this book is that you and I are reading it like monthly, and we're doing one installment at a time.
I don't mind that though, because
no, it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah,
I cannot wait to read more. It's such a good series, and it nothing but great. And look, and I get up. Hey, this is cover price.
Yeah.
You just get the cover you want. Right here, you don't got to jump through hoops. You don't got to, oh, well, it's a 1 in 100. Oh, tough luck, kiddos. No.
Tough luck, kiddos.
It's right there. Everything about this is great. So awesome. Can't wait for more. And again, crushing it.
Very good. Very, very good. Except for that splash picture. But yes.
If that's the biggest complaint we have, then we are.
It's a nitpick. And it's measuring against himself. Like that slash picture is still better than a lot of art out there. It's just like it doesn't match to me.
So issue 3, looking forward to it in
a month.
Yeah, amazing series. If you guys have any comments yourselves, any hot takes, anything whatsoever, let us know. I'll be honest, this review is mostly for us to gush with each other and talk about a comic. Seems like versus our other videos, it's not as hot.
I thought 0 people wanted to see this. It's not 0. There were a couple people.
It's more than 0.
It's more than 0, but as small as our audience is for our reviews, it's even smaller for our comic reviews. I'll throw this out. It has nothing to do with comics. I was at the 99-cent store the other day. They have these little Power Ranger.
Oh, nice.
99 cents. They had all of them, and I thought about getting all of them, except for some reason Kimberly is out of scale with the rest. So getting a whole team doesn't really work. But I got just the Green Ranger, and he needs a little bit of white on his neck, but otherwise for 99 cents. And I'm going to put it next to my Dragon Zord and have it be like a little Tommy.
That's cool.
Yeah. So this was last week, so they're probably still there. They do have all the colors. If you don't mind an out of scale Kimberly, you can get the whole team. But maybe I thought you might want a Red Ranger to put next to something. I don't know.
That's not a bad idea. I know. Speaking of Hasbro properties, they also had Transformers.
They
as
did
well.
little mini ones like this big. I was tempted to get some to put like next to Unicron or something, but
if you're gonna do it, the Grimlock's actually really good.
it is, yeah. But you know what? I have so many. I don't need to start a new. Yeah, I don't. I'm not gonna do it.
It's a dinosaur.
Here's why I'm not gonna do it, because they had like 2 or 3. But if I'm gonna do it, there's a micro collection, those little metal miniature ones, and they have a Transformer set. And I'm like, oh, I could buy that. Those could be the little ones, and I'm done. So, but that has nothing to do with comics or Power Rangers.
No.
So I think we should stop. And until next time, I've been Gazbot.
I am still the big dog, and to the power. Toodles, the noodles.
Did you say
Man.
Toodles the Noodles?
Toodles of noodles. I don't know. The middle word I never really got, but toodles and noodles I've heard numerous times.
Never heard that in my life. I thought you were just randomly lying.
Yeah, but tis what it is. Yeah, I will say, talking about comics with you either offline or on the show does get me remotivated to keep churning through my backlog. So I got some stacks.
You've always been faster than me, and so that continues. But the fact that I'm reading a comic a week is more than I've been doing for a long time. So yeah.
And the fact that it's something that we're both reading, because it's very rare, even though we share a lot of interests. When it comes to comics, we've always just been slightly misaligned.
Yeah. Well, like I said, the next thing I know I'm reading is that Avengers, like Lost in Time. I can't remember what it's called. I'm pretty sure it's Alan Davis. Anyway, it doesn't matter.